I'm back.
He's back. Like Terminator. I'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We're back for another week. How you doing, Scott? You all right?
I finally got some good sleep.
That's good. That's good.
For those who don't know, that's got to be a George in chat. All right. For those who don't know, about every 4 years I go and help out with the elections here in the U.S. I sometimes get tied up in that for a month, 2 or even 3. We were working 7 days, 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours. On election day, it was 17 hours. So Scotty has spent some time sleeping. A lot of time sleeping.
And much on sleep, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm taking a few days off and back on the stream.
Well, let's get straight into it. We'll do the usual bit. Now you can get back to doing what you normally do. Here, Scott,
I don't
take
even
it away.
remember what this is anymore. Be nice, be constructive. Come on, we're on YouTube, not Reddit. Don't post anything that is adult content, rude, offensive, against common sense. Don't advertise or promote anything. There's a bunch of us who need jobs right now. We don't need to hear about you. Don't spam, which means post the same thing over and over again. Okay, that's the big one. If you ask a question, you go to the bottom of the list. If you had asked that question before, you are taken out of the upper spot in the list and moved back to the bottom. If you keep asking your question over and over and can't figure out why you're not getting an answer, it's because you're asking over and over. Now, harassment of no kind will be tolerated. Failing this, you will be blocked from here, and we will share your name with everybody we know so they can block you from their stuff too, like Discord, and go after you on Reddit and make your life miserable. That's because this is a very inclusive place. It's safe for everybody. And really, we're all here to have a good time.
Yeah, especially have a good time. Let's do some quick introductions. What we normally do. My name's Simon Lightfoot, Flutter Community Leader, CTO of Dev Angels London. All these other things. And you can find me on Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, at Dev Angels London. Scott, can I say Scott?
My name is Scott Stahl. I am also a community leader for Flutter, organizer of GDG Cleveland, available at the Bird Place on Scott Stahl 2017. And we're going to have to update this slide to include my Blue Sky name.
Me too. And we also have a Randall. Randall, welcome to the stage.
Hey everybody, Randall Schwartz here, Dart and Flutter Google developer expert for 6+ years at this point, since the beginning of the program. And that means I spend a lot of time answering all y'all's questions in all the places like Discord and Slack and Stack Overflow and Reddit and stuff. And I also give presentations typically remotely from my secret underground lair here. Also, for this show, I am the question magician, which means that I am watching the live chat on YouTube. And if you put Q: in front of your message, we will consider it. I will particularly consider it a question for us, the panel, as opposed to just chat amongst yourselves, which happens a lot as well. And I will put you into the queue. There, I made the dad joke for the day. And I'll also help out with the answers from time to time when I have both knowledge and time. So there's me.
And Danielle, to the stage.
Hey everybody, I'm Danielle Cox. I am the Flutter tech lead for a startup called Ardley, and you know, one of the things I'm more proud of probably a lot of times is I'm one of the organizers of the Flutteristas, and that's ramping up to take more time coming up soon because we are in the process of planning the next Flutteristas conference. So if you happen to be female or non-binary and you're interested in Flutter, you should hit me up and I will make sure you get added to our now we've got a Discord server more than the Slack, you know, but the email list, you know, our monthly meetings, and now the conference stuff. So once again, if you're, you know, Flutteristas is for female, non-binary folk who are interested in Flutter. So,
Yay.
One thing I'd like to point out real quick is George is the only one who's getting away with calling me Scotty. Let's not make a habit of it.
well, George is
Appreciate the endearment.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can appreciate it, but at the same time, that's no.
Yeah, and George is also the one that's like, you know, pumping the Flutter London meetup. So I mean, he's ignoring us all over the place.
Yeah,
Just
there
like-
we go.
Yep. But also, one thing I'd like to point out is everyone on screen is available to give talks. Right? It's Randall is, but also the three of us are too, and there are a bunch of other people. The Flutter London person in chat is also available to give talks. George.
Yeah.
Yes. That it was a mix. It was a mix. It was good to see all those people again, and I do enjoy the work. Especially there's some forensic work involved after the election, but the results could have been better. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
we're
was
not going to
looking
talk about
forward.
elections. We're not here to talk about that.
I was looking forward to speaking at the Portland GDG for a Dev Fest. It got on the schedule and then nothing happened. So we've gone dark here in Portland, sadly. I have no idea what's going on. I've sent messages to the coordinators that I worked with for my 2 presentations I've made so far. Nothing's happened. So I don't know what's going on. So GDG Portland may be on its way out, at least for a little while. Sad.
I got a little surprise coming. They're not. You guys never probably heard of this retro machine.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
I know Spectrums. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Simon
well, we do.
collects the old stuff.
Yep.
No, these are new remakes of the old stuff, right? So there's So this is how so when I was young, this is where I first started learning to program.
Yeah.
And you guys see the keyboard.
Yeah.
That's how that was autocomplete. You'd press like the various shift lock buttons when you press a key to get the magical word to appear.
Wow.
So but yeah, no, these have got HDMI on them now, so that's pretty cool.
Well, that's a mix of cultures from both ends of the spectrum. That's pretty crazy.
But
Well,
no, you can put USB into it, right? So you can put a normal keyboard or mouse or joysticks and things like that. So this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, Night's Law is on here. It's on here. Night Law as well. So
Right. Now would be a good time to get your questions in, by the way, because the earlier you get a question, the earlier we answer it. So
and I'm only here for the first hour.
Questions. Yeah, if it's a web question in particular, ask it quick so that Danielle can take a whack at it. We know
Michael, no
not
problem.
like Danielle.
I just don't want it to become a habit.
Wow.
Simon and I got to geek out at the game museum there in Berlin after FlutterCon, and seeing all those old machines like that. They had examples like I started on a VIC-20, and of course they had one of those there, and it was pretty cool.
I think they had one of these actually. This was these were sold actually in America, but they weren't sold as Spectrums. They're sold as Timex Sinclair.
Right. Yeah.
Which you've probably heard of.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think I've actually touched one of those physically. So I don't know.
Well, my
Commodore 64.
My VIC-20 was either that or like a was it TS-1000? I think it was something like that. Yeah, was my choices.
I had an Atari
Handy
800 with a
1000,
chiclet keyboard. That was fun. The Atari 800s were a lot of fun. I programmed in Forth on that. Wow. Now I'm dating myself.
But yeah,
Anyway.
this was absolutely terrible to program. My headset keeps disconnecting and reconnecting. I don't know what's going on.
Oh no, Bluetooth. Sometimes it works.
Well, I did have the basic cartridge for my Atari 2600 back in the day. You could do nothing with it.
For the 2600.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
it had like no room for anything. I have no idea what it was for. I really don't.
Yes.
Yeah, a reason to sell something. What is going on?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the adventure game, how they had to program that the dragon game that they had to put all this calculation in, but the chip was also used for doing the actual display. So what they did is it went into a mode where you were traveling, and yeah, it was weird. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
No, that was the chess game. The chess game had to go to calculation mode. Yeah.
Yeah, and like all kinds of fun limitations. Like one of the games we really liked on the Atari 2600 was the Scott Adams Adventures, and on those it was a word adventure game, and the words were limited to the first three letters of a word, and so there's this one, spoiler alerts by the way, for a game that's, I don't know, 40 plus years old, but
really.
if you wanted to get past the bear and actually keep your honey, because you give the bear the honey and go past him, that's not a problem, but you needed the honey at the end to get maximum points, right? So if you wanted to get past him, you were up on a ledge, you could yell at the bear, and it would fall off the ledge. It would be so startled and fall off the ledge, that kind of thing, right? So I had cousins that were over playing it, and they would have some aliases in there for it, right? And so finally he just said, well, just screw the bear.
Oh,
and
no.
So I'm thinking this, like, scream at the bear was what they were intending in the game, but he said just screw the bear. So she typed in screw bear, and it was so startled it fell off the ledge.
Oh, nice. Yeah, very cool.
So good memories
cool.
way back in the day.
Text adventure games. They actually there's actually a game that came with this. It's called The Hobbit, which is the original Hobbit story, but a text adventure game of it.
Wow.
It actually has graphics, so half the screen would be filled with graphics for each of the different locations that you went to. Really cool.
That's
First
neat.
time.
Nice. Cool. I remember playing with the original adventure game, and it was originally written in Fortran, and it used a data file to get the descriptions. And I was getting stuck in the maze, and the maze is pretty tiny passages all alike. So I edited the text source file that it reads so that it added a unique ID. You are in maze of twist tiny passages all like number 129. You'd quickly map out where I was from the directions. That made it so much simpler. You just had to learn how to, think outside the box, or as the Kobayashi Maru maneuver or whatever, right? Yeah.
What was the original text adventure game? Was it Zork? I think it was Zork, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Adventure, I think, preceded Zork.
Oh, Adventure. Adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the one I was talking about. The one written in Fortran and had like Plug and Y2. That was the original adventure game.
Go north.
Yes,
Go north.
Just noun and verb, right? That's all it ever had.
It's always that's always the problem, right? You had to learn. I think you inside like the cassette, or we used to get games cassette. You used to have like the verbs so that it would support, right? So like north, south, east, west, look, pick up or get, put, simple words. Because anyone modern that tries to play one of those games, they're just like, I'm telling it in just natural English to do this thing, and it's not working. It's like it always returns back with, "What do you mean need?" Like it's like.
Well, I mean, it's always funny listening to Brenda
Colossal Cave. That was it. Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. I was gonna say it's always fun listening to the like Brenda talk to like our Alexa or something, because she'll talk almost like you would talk to things back then.
Wow.
As opposed to just trying to tell it what you want it to do. She's like trying to like do it specifically in those kinds of orders and stuff. So it sounds like English wise, it just sounds totally stilted. And it's like, you don't need to do that anymore.
If I had 1,000 more minutes a day, I would hook up like Gemini to the original adventure and see if I could then talk to it in English and give it tasks to do and see if it could figure out how that worked. That would be cool.
That'd be neat.
And Gemini, create your own adventure?
Well, no, just solve this adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I had a realization as I'm looking at the chat, and it is ultimate proof that Apple refused to go along with standards from the very beginning, and they insisted on their own proprietary versions.
It was
stuff.
Microsoft. No, I think it was Microsoft Basic, but it was modified to the Apple.
Yeah.
By Bill Gates, I think, if I remember rightly.
Somebody.
It wasn't. It was a modified. I think, or am I thinking about a different platform? I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm going to have to look that up now. My brain maybe makes that up.
Oh, and of course, it's the one day a year when the sun actually hits me right in my face.
Intro Basic by Steve. No, it was they added Floating Point. When was the Floating Point game?
Yeah, that was Microsoft Basic that added that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's, or maybe it was just to match it.
Whatever they called it.
Steve did it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we're starting to get a bunch of questions. We got six.
Right.
We got 6 so far. So
Danielle, what are you doing?
I'm just, I can't give away any my dashes either, but I wanted to show off for a second.
yeah. Good plan.
So
all I see is this nose poking up over.
It's really kind of get all that going on.
So I
only have the one.
I've actually given away so many dashes. As they come in, I give them out and shows. But this is like the original one.
Yep.
The dark front. You can't get that anymore, so that stays with me.
Yep.
And I've got one of the normal ones, one of the small ones, and that's it.
Yeah. There's actually a 4th version out there, by the way, which I don't have, and you don't have either, because there's 4 versions. It's a slightly different. I think it is. I think it.
One.
I think it may be this color here on this one, or maybe I have one you don't have. Yeah, so I got this one. I don't think you have.
I can't see it because off camera. So yeah.
Sorry, because I moved it.
There are various mutant dashes out there.
Yeah, so maybe it's this one that you don't have. If I'm looking at yours.
No, so I've got the one with
the
dark.
That one. Okay, then I think there's one that's got this color scheme, but that's on the big one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like a lighter blue here. Yeah.
Yes, the etymology of dashes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now all we need to do is take them over to an art appraiser and see what the or actually a plushie appraiser, and see what the dashes are worth.
That'll probably exist in a few years. The amount of plushies that are unique are coming out now. So
yeah.
Do like limited runs
how much are they worth on the open market?
And of course, we've got we've been having some discussions recent, actually since FlutterCon, about the Flutterflow mascot, of whether it's a Fennec Fox or a Chihuahua. And
this is a Fennec Fox. I was told that by Flutterflow.
I understand, but there's lots of discussion over maybe it's a Chihuahua.
Right.
All right. We are 20 some odd minutes into this stream, and all we're doing is talking about plushies.
Well, yeah, because we're filling time, right?
Yeah, because there's still only 6 questions.
Oh, yeah. And those that don't realize, basic all-purpose symbolic instruction code is the word basic, BASIC, and that's where the word basic comes from.
That's true.
Yep.
And all of those 6502 based machines were just like a lot of fun back then.
It was if you haven't listened to the Steve Wozniak's autobiography, he wrote it himself and reads it himself in an audiobook form. Really good. He talks about when he wrote the Applesoft Basic. I remember now. I was just thinking about that and reading it clicked. He mentioned how he didn't realize that each basic was slightly different. Like he thought when he was writing it matching someone else's one, it would just all the code would work everywhere. And how each one is slightly different. There's some similarities between them, and it's very similar, right? But yeah, there would definitely be certain things that were unique against each platform, right?
I spent my first 6 years coding Basic, wrote some pretty cool stuff, even wrote stuff for hire in Basic. That's pretty scary, but my first paid program was in fact in Basic.
It seems really weird. There was a time I remember writing some high level applications in Basic, and it just seems weird, like writing like a Windows application in Basic. You can do it, but it's like, it feels.
And
weird.
one of the co-creators of Basic died like in the last week or two.
Yeah, I posted.
I read up all the stories. Read up all the stories.
96.
History back of that. So
I bring it up on stream.
Yep.
Just for those that don't know, we should share. This is the reason why we're talking about this as well.
Also, I wonder how much of a difference there is between the Basic we're talking about now and VB.
A lot.
Lot. Yeah. Basic language co-inventor Thomas E. Kurtz passed away 96 recently. And you can, if you go look at, I'll put this link in the chat to the biography and stuff. So
yeah.
But I think everyone should know about these things. It's part of our. I mean, things like that. If he hadn't, it's interesting. If he hadn't done that, would we now be all writing in like a fourth or Fortran style of languages? Like would we? Because Basic kind of introduced that kind of idea of a easy to know language, and that kind of inferred to C. Like if statements and so on. It's just I feel like the languages have evolved, right? And like, I wonder where we would be if we hadn't had those people doing those things, right?
I bet C owes more to Pascal than it does to Basic.
But I mean, like, when did the two when were the two invented? I'm kind of thinking about the timeline.
Yeah, Pascal's after C.
Yeah.
No. Pascal was before C.
Pascal came after Fortran, right? There's a history of language, history of It's a diagram I've seen quite a few times.
We are going way down a rabbit hole.
I know. We'll answer questions in a second, people.
Okay, we only have 6 questions, so hurry up and get your questions in so we can answer them as soon as we're.
Apparently, Basic was 1964.
Okay.
Pascal's 1970.
There you go.
Yeah, but C was 70.
He was like around 72, wasn't it?
Yeah, 71, 72 for the White C Bible.
Yeah, I still have that book, by the way.
Yeah, I had one. I had a copy sitting on my shelf many decades ago. I don't know where it is now. I don't even know if I still have it. But
I know exactly where mine is. It's on my bookshelf downstairs.
Yes.
In my room.
Let's crack on.
I've got that. I've got the Dragon book, the Dragon compiler book.
Oh, yes.
Simon, you're the one who started all this.
The big red book that doesn't fit on a shelf. Yeah.
It's Scott's turn to push the buttons. I don't have to do that this time. Yay.
Alrighty. Let's see here. First button push. Having a heck of a time trying to get Docker build command to work for a Dart server located in a Melos monorepo. Information included in the gist here.
Okay. I envisage the problem you're having is your Docker files in a subdirectory, and it depends on packages outside of that directory. So I don't even have to look. I'm gonna have a look at the gist in a minute, but I would, Michael, this is very common. So Docker, the way Docker compiles is it wraps up. You have to copy the files into the image so that you can compile with those files. So you have to tell it to copy everything in the current directory or the parent directory and so on. So it becomes quite difficult to build a Docker file if you depend on adjacent packages. They're not in that subdirectory. You can do it. The easiest way is just to move the Docker file up a directory and put your Docker file in the parent directory, or maybe in the base directory of the repository, and then it can access everything underneath. And you can choose what subdirectories to copy into the Docker image to then run the Dart compile to then build the final image from scratch. So we'll have a look at it though if there's if you want to come back and see if try that out. But honestly, just moving it up is probably the easiest way to fix it. You can run Docker with some parameters to say build in this directory, but the Docker file is located in this other place. But then you have to know to do that. You have to run like a build command or make some sort of. I suppose you can do like a Melos build script, which just runs that. But yeah, should be possible. I'll take a look in a minute in the gist, but let's crack on with some more questions, I think.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Where is that question? Here. I don't. Can someone? I don't have it in my list. So if someone can send me the gist, I can look it up.
Oh, let me get
maybe repost it, Michael.
No, I'll get it back up.
I posted it in our private chat.
Oh, you did. Great. That's perfect. Thanks.
There it is.
That's it. Let's crack on then.
All right. What do you think about KMP and why is Google doing this if they have Flutter? Boy, this question
Why are
has
they
been
doing
asked before.
Why are they doing Flutter if they have Android? That's the same question. So
Yeah.
this came up because of the Google I/O presentation. I directly addressed the vice president at level 5 people about what is Google's commitment to Flutter compared to KMP, since that had a huge show the day before in the keynotes, and they all confirmed for me, including the head of DevRel and the head of Kotlin, that Google wants multiple solutions for people. Different solutions have different optimizations. So Google is absolutely committed to Flutter and is exploring the areas around KMP. That's why. KMM or whatever it is. KMP. Right. Yeah. So don't worry about Flutter. Flutter is solid, absolutely solid. And Google's doing this because they often do things that compete with themselves. Google is not one big entity as much as we like to see it that way. There's a lot of little pockets of really cool engineers that are working together, finding different ways to attack the same problem. That's why we have
combined in different ways too.
Yeah, like the AI stuff. There's all the stuff that's related to the sort of the Gemini generic interface, and then there's all the stuff related to Vertex, which actually is because it's two different teams internally, and it's like it's not clear then which Gemini you want to be using and all that stuff. But that's Google for you. So don't worry. Flutter is solid. Flutter is safe. Many commits every day on the Flutter repos. Lots of action happening. I see it all the time. Every day I pull down an update to the Flutter repos to kind of see what's going on, and it's hundreds of commits a day. There is no way any activity is slowing down on anything with Flutter related internally. Do not worry.
In fact, it looks like it might be even speeding up further because they have recently reorganized, and Flutter is now under cloud. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That's just like internal business structure, but yeah.
But I think that's going to, I'm wondering if that means much for the Flutter team's ability to get the ear of the people in the cloud. So it might, with any luck, maybe the things that they've been asking for out of the cloud side of the company, they might start getting some traction, I hope.
This is the gist, by the way, we just looked at. The error the person's getting is they're getting pub cache references from within inside the build, and that's why it can't look at the file. Just change this copy to pubspec.yaml. Don't copy your lock file. Probably should be okay then. Yeah, so I'm expecting it's copying the lock file, and then it's then referencing the files locally in the lock file to your previous location. That's what I'd expect is happening here. So just try and copy the YAML file, and then when you run pub get, you'll have to fetch all the packages. Since I haven't got the Docker file here, I'd also make sure that you're using the most recent version of Dart stable or at the top of the Docker file. But yeah, I think it should be fine.
Cool.
All right, we ready for the next one?
Yeah, but the other thing to say, there could be I don't know if you're copying like multiple packages in there, but it could also be another lock file in one of the other directories. So just be careful what you're copying.
All right, here's a age-old question. What's the best way to keep the app alive in the background?
Right, before we just jump onto that, I just noticed here, you're copying the prospect and then you're copying everything over the top. This will copy your lock file again, but you're not running Dart pub get afterwards. Replace this copy with copy.dart and remove this line, and you'll be fine. It'll fix everything because your Dart pub get will call after after lock files have all been copied, in which case this will reorganize all your lock files and get rid of these references. But to be honest, it's this is a cop out. You really don't want to be just doing copy everything. Not unless you've got pub ignore. If you add Docker ignore, if you add a Docker ignore file for pub spec lock, then you can do this, right? Yeah. Sorry, off track. But yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
How do we keep it alive?
Don't.
Back.
There you go.
Yeah, and what does WhatsApp do keeping itself alive?
It doesn't.
It gets.
I think they're talking about being able to receive notifications when it's not focused,
and run some, and you can run some code when that happens too.
The question is, what are they actually trying to do? Because make app alive in the background is too generic. What are you trying to achieve? Why do you want to run in the background? Ask that point, and then we'll come back to this.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
What are you trying to do in the background? Yeah.
Alrighty. Here's one that I've been researching.
You're trying to burn my battery in the background. That's what you're trying to do.
Stop that. Use all my battery. Use all my battery in the background.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Stop that.
I have a mathematics background and was thinking of trying AI in Flutter. I tried TFlight TFlight first to distinguish between a cat and a dog image. Any recommendations and advice on what packages I can use? Funny you should ask.
The dog cat package.
Google Generative AI is the main package for interacting with all of Google's general AI models, all of the different ones, and it does have multimodal capability.
I could say I'm not sure if that's exactly what he's asking though, right?
What packages?
He probably wants something on the device, which means it's not going to be the server-based generative AI package.
So this was mathematics. I'm trying AI in Flutter. I mean, yeah.
I don't think Gemma would have enough power to do it.
I mean, again, there's no question. What package do you do on what packages I can use to do what? He says he wants to think of trying AI. Well, you've tried it with TF-Lite. I mean, what you trying? Are you trying? You said I've tried TF-Lite first to distinguish between cat and dog. Was that successful? Are you saying how? Are you asking how I can distinguish between cat and dog images using Flutter? Right? Is that your point here? AI with Flutter, because
I think they're talking about being able to tie into the modern AIs with Flutter in order to do anything.
I don't think so at all, because otherwise, then what's the mathematics part of that have to do with anything?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
Solomon, ask your question. Ask your question again, Solomon, and we can come back to some unique points on it.
Right, because it could be he's just participating in things that look like the neural net stuff, which is TFlight and those family of things, which are prior to sort of the LLM generation that a lot of people think of when they're thinking AI now. So we don't know which of the two flavors of AI he's actually talking about.
Even if he's doing that, like if you're trying to on device, then you're going to be using TF-Lite.
Right.
Well, that or Gemma, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's an on device model, right?
Yeah. Right.
All righty. I was developing a camera app where the app will record video and capture a photo, but the catch is it's capturing pics using a square at a random place on the screen. Okay.
Is there a second part to this question? Because I haven't seen a question.
Not that I see.
Is it saying that it's randomly putting a square in the captured image, like as a bug?
I think the problem is it's probably just taking a square piece of the screen at random. Or of course, it's not going to be random.
I'm really no. Is that what he's trying to do? Is he trying to make it so he captures a picture with a random square on the screen? I'm not sure what.
And I'm reading that is that's what it's doing, and they want to make it a entire screenshot.
Yeah, but it won't do that by default. So this is something else is addition on top. I mean, the camera package captures an image from the camera. There's no. I think the issue is I think he wants to add a square on top of the image, maybe, because then that would make sense.
I don't think they're capturing using the camera because they're recording video using the camera.
I think let him, Dave. Let's repost what you're asking. This
we
feels
are
like
failing that.
yeah. However, Solomon
Yes.
just came back to us. I tried
Yep.
TF Lite, but it did not work. So I was looking at
But it's
alternative options for this task. TF Lite worked just fine, Solomon. So
What does
I mean,
not work mean for you? That's can't just get away with saying just does not work. It did what when you expected when, you know, that's
So first of all, that whole trick that I somehow feel that Solomon is at university, because that whole thing of detecting between the difference between a cat and a dog image is very common, like question that they ask you to do. But yeah, no, if you're trying to do that, you obviously you have a whole selection of cat images, a whole selection of dog images. You train your models, and then you can then have you train your model, which ends up being a TF Lite model. You can then push that into TF Lite inside the app, and at runtime, it can use that model to determine if it's a cat or dog picture that you're giving it. But it works very well for that. So I'm going to say your source data is incorrect. Or the other thing is, when you prepare your data for TF Lite, if it's not an ImageNet one, it can't just work with images. You have to pass it an array of floats or an array of pixel data. You have to, your model will require the data to be formatted in a certain way, like an array of 113 by 113 inches for the pixel data or something like that. So you need to make sure that you're preparing your data correctly. But yeah, just check the model and how you're doing it. Okay. What is this? Unmodified work UNA. Yes, it's been removed from the latest version. You need to update your version of the TF Lite package to the most recent version, and you'll make sure you get rid of the correct. That's the up arrow from the beginning of the version, and you should be fine. Or downgrade your Flutter version that you're working with. Unmodifiable UN8 list view was removed from the Flutter SDK. So the tensor class is probably dependent. In fact, we can look it up right now, can't we?
it was deprecated for about a year before this, so it should people should have had time to update their packages. The deprecation policies for breaking changes are pretty good.
Okay, so TF Lite _Flutter was updated 2 months ago, and that was updated in September to the latest FFI and Dart and Flutter versions, apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna hazard a guess and say it should be fine on the latest version. If you're not using the official TensorFlow.org package, then it probably means that it's out of date somewhere else, right? But I'll put the package in the chat for those that want to try it out.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a quick nose at the version that they're using. 3.5, 3.3 and above. Yeah, maybe update your Flutter. Maybe you need to just tweak your versions. But yeah, you can always clone their repo. You can always fork their repo and fix it, and then post a PR.
Yeah. Pull requests welcome generally.
Yeah.
I guess next
All
question
right.
then.
This next one looks like possibly a path issue. Creating a plugin and have added a module in plugin Android. After running example PRJ, I'm assuming that's project, I'm getting an error. Project with path module cannot be found in project plugin name.
I've created a plugin. I've added a module in. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a really the problem you're having here is not really a Flutter related issue. What you're having a problem here is Gradle and the Android build system. I can't imagine that you're having a problem. What you're trying to do is add a module in plugin Android. So you're making a Android. You're making a Flutter plugin in Android, and you want to add a module to it in Gradle. So you just add the module to the settings.gradle, add your Gradle scripts in there. Yeah, it should work fine. I don't know what to suggest to you. Module could not be found in project this. Yeah. Sorry, not really got much to add to that.
Join the Android channel on the Flutter community Discord.
That sounds like a good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, and those are all available at Flutter community, flutter.dev/community. So every time we mention a social site, they're all at the bottom of that page. You have to really scroll to get all the way down to it. But all the socials that we ever mention, like Discord and Slack and stuff, they all have links at the bottom of that page.
It says after running example project.
We may have some lag going on because we just got an answer back from Flutter Crew. It's after running example
That's what she
project.
said, yeah.
So yeah, that tells you about how much the lag is right now. Project with path module 1 could not be found in project. Yeah, plugin name. So yeah, that's by now you have heard the answer. So
if we start seeing questions from last Wednesday, we'll know the lag is really bad.
yeah, this is turning into a time capsule.
Come on, let's carry on.
All right.
Sure.
I did a quick research here a moment ago, and I am only coming up with extracting text. But someone would like to know how to extract images, tables, etc. from a PDF.
Well, the PDF module gives you the fully parsed thing, including all the images. So you just need to figure out where the images are by walking the trees.
Yeah,
the PDF is just a tree of things, sort of.
The problem you've got, right, is the PDF status is absolutely huge, and most people don't need to do what you're doing. You can generate PDFs and you can pass them, and there's two different packages: the PDF package and the PDFX package. And I'm just looking at seeing which one is which because I forget.
The X extra special.
Yeah. No, I have a feeling that you're not going to get much from this. There is a PDF box, which is a Android PDF box. I think it's called. It's been a while. Apache PDF box. Yeah. So there's a version of Apache PDF box for Android. Yeah, you can probably look this one up. I'm just picking the first thing that comes out here on let's see if I can get this thing up on screen. Oops. Yeah. I'll post this PDF box on Android. You could create a plugin, add the library, create yourself a little platform channel, but basically you need to pass the PDF. I don't think that there's a package that's been so I've been doing this. Sorry, to be clear, we were doing a PDF renderer and a few other things previously, and yeah, I think you're better off like going with a pre-made library. The PDFX package uses the native platforms to do the rendering and viewing, and then the PDF package is just for making PDFs. I don't think it does parsing the PDFs. I'm just going to check now just to make sure I'm not being an idiot. Why not? I'll show it on the screen. Yeah. PDF creation doesn't speak well to actually parsing it, so I don't think this can actually load up. I don't think this can load up a PDF. That's parser there. I just noticed. Yeah, what did I just miss? PDF document parser. Give it the bytes. Will it give you? Well, that looks like merge document. Import existing objects into the new PDF document. I mean, object size. Try this. I've never used it before. Parser base. And there's no implementations of it. Unless it's a mixin. This feels like it's unfinished. That you can pass in some bytes. Maybe it'll try and pass it into. There's a way of getting a PDF document. Merge document. Import the existing objects into a new PDF document. Maybe this is it. Maybe what you do is you create a blank PDF document and then run this function. It will take whatever's in the PDF file and stick it into this PDF document in memory. But load. Oh yeah, look, load from a parser. There you go. So PDF document.load from a parser. And then what you might be able to get from that is to browse the tree of objects. Objects, PDF object. There you go.
Yeah, I knew there was a way.
So this might give you might give you the I mean, PDF is as a standard is not what you think. It's not like it's not structured. This is going to be like the raw structure of the file, which is very much it's more about the state of the document at a point in time. It's not necessarily the same as what you probably expect. PDF
is essentially a subset of PostScript.
Yeah.
And so it actually is computationally complete. It's Turing complete, which is really weird. I think it is. I know PDF.
I think you're right. I was thinking of SVG. SVG added like JavaScript, which was just like the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, well, it's compute or image, right? Exactly. But PDF is a particularly specific formatted PS file, and in fact, the original PDFs you could just send directly to a laser writer because it was PostScript. It was completely a valid PostScript program, but it had structure in it through the use of comments. And I don't know if the current PDFs are like that now, but I know that's how it was back in PDF version 1 or whatever.
No, it's not. They actually have some. They went a bit further than that, but it's the annoying thing about PDFs, right? Is that each letter you see on the screen could just be a shape, like a vector shape. It doesn't necessarily have to be in text, so it doesn't need to be searchable. And then each of those bits of each of the letters you see on the screen could be a separate text-like element, which means that there's no it's only reading on the screen that you know that this is a word because each of the text elements is positioned independently on the screen. So it's the same. It's the same as having just like, let's say you want to read the word text right on the screen, TEXT. There could be 4 separate elements in the file. You'd have to literally work out, are these adjacent in XY coordinates to work out, does it read as a sentence?
Oh, what a mess.
Which is just like, there's no way then to automatically pass them. Luckily, yeah, it depends on how the PDF was created, and just because they've been created any number of ways, there's no like formal way of doing it.
So just like all software, the worst design rises to the top and becomes the most popular standard.
Yes.
Well, it's more about like standard denotes like here's PDF that it's a format for displaying data, but there's no recommendations or conventions around how you might do that, right? So it's just like a free for all, right? So
I had a client who had a project that had to associate data with a client with his clients, and the easiest and only way pretty much to be able to attach information to a particular client was to add a PDF file to their record. Well, but I needed to get that electronically later, so I had to carefully write a PDF writer that would write the strings in such a way that I could come back later and parse the file as strings. So it wasn't just character like it would have been normally to print. It was actually strings. What's great is that you could just bring the file up and it had all these nice, it looked like a little table of the names and strings.
You're making me feel icky. You're making me feel icky. It's so hacky. Right. And then someone posted, is EPUB better than PDF? There's no better. They're different. They're different formats.
Yeah. They're bad in different ways.
Yes. Yeah, they're bad in different
ways.
In
other words, you have no hope in either direction.
Yeah.
EPUB is meant for book reading and reformatting of text, right? So it solves these problems with PDF. That's the whole idea. But then it doesn't represent very well if you're trying to say this is printed and should always be printed exactly the same. That's what PDF is good for. So there are two separate reasons for having these two different document types.
Right.
All right.
Cool.
We've got one for Randall.
Yes, I was looking at this earlier. I'm trying to build a chat. New Riverpod 2. That's been 3 years now, maybe 2 years. Okay. It
All
works.
right,
I'm not sure it's
Randall,
the
I
right
gotta ask the
way.
question first.
Oh, sorry. I was reading the question because it came up in front of me. Sorry. Go, Scott.
And
Sorry.
trying to build a chat with Riverpod 2 API. It works, but I'm not sure it's the right way. Any advice on the following async notifier? And there is a gist.
Simon can pull up the gist so that it's presented properly.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't click on those things. Without, anytime I click, it just does this.
You can't click on the thing in the.
And
Yeah,
we
you have
can't
to
hear
go to
Simon.
the.
Simon,
Yeah,
you're
we
muted.
can't hear Simon. Yes.
Anyway, I was saying that you can select from the edge and copy the message. You don't if you click on it, it's going to show it, right? Anyway, let's bring this up.
Yeah.
The edge.
And Simon also always tells us not to mute ourselves or be careful when we do it because
I don't know how I muted myself. I don't know. I must have clicked the button.
You're connecting and disconnecting of your headset, probably, as you kept saying it was happening earlier.
Oh, it could be. It's not working. Oh yeah, wait. It's me. It's
You mean
me.
the copy's not working, just like it's not working for me?
No, it's me. My bad. There you go.
Okay, chat messages. I'm guessing this is the same guy that's asked this on both the Riverpod Discord and the Flutter community Discord, because he's doing some weird stuff and he wants some caching. I don't know that I can answer it in.
I could post. It's probably easier to post the link to you, but like.
Yeah.
Well, I think the only thing
knitted.
they're asking about is the async
I mean,
notifier.
this is you're. So he says, what did it say here? This code works for me, but it feels odd to have the is initialized inside the build method since the doc reads the build method. Yeah, that's not good. This is
almost every time you introduce a Boolean like is idle or is running or is initialized, you're fighting against the notion of futures in Dart. It's almost always a misunderstanding of how we show incomplete tasks in a way that is observable from other Dart code and can be synchronized and choreographed. If you do it with stupid extra bools, you can't do all that, and the bools might get out of sync too.
In particular, in this case, you've got inside that if you've got an await, and so I mean, this could still get run multiple times.
Yeah, this should be before this, right? But then even then, I'm like, well, this should really be protected by a.
Sure.
If you try to do this is initialized thing, because build could be called multiple times, then this should be protected by a mutex. Or
this is a notifier build. This is not a widget build. This is a notifier build.
Yeah,
so it will only get run. It would only get run once. Oh no, it actually can be run more than once if you reinitialize the.
Surely this should be this should be working on the ref, because if I go down here, you've got an async function that's returning void, right? And this updates the state.
This is not following protocol at all. So you need to hang out with us on the Riverpod Discord. And we can fix it. Remy might even chime in. Remy hangs out all the time there at the Riverpod.
This feels a bit icky.
It's mismanaged a bit.
I'll pop this in the private chat for you. If you want, Manuel, so you can take a look.
It's hard to fix it until there's about a 10-minute talk I can do on exactly what a provider is doing, how you write dependencies for it, how to use async in a proper way. I've got about a 10 or 15-minute talk I can do on that, but I'm not going to do that right here, right now, because I need a lot more audio visuals and I need my hands moving around the right way. So you need to learn a bit more about this before this code is not best of breed, not best practices.
Does the plus override on a list do add? Like add all, because is this saying all messages dot add all initial messages? Is that the same as doing that and returning back all messages, or is this generating a new list? Because if this isn't generating a new list, then you've broken stateful rules here, right? Because all messages be solution to, turned into a set, back to a list, and returned. I mean, fundamentally, this is probably
It's
like
unique.
this tells you it should be a set in the first place, right?
Yeah, well, there is ordering. You're right, right. Yeah, if you ever have to unique it, probably
losing
should
the
have.
ordering. Like,
Yeah,
he's not resorting it.
that should be a set.
It's a lot of
To be clear, the icky on 52 is not that basically the functions are void, but the fact that it should be a future void because it's an async, right?
Yeah, but it's equally like the fact that you're just treating all these future things going on inside this notifier, which has no state management. There's nothing going on here. You can't.
The build, the build needs to basically return a future that, when complete, we know the object's initialized. That's the simple contract with build. And this is not anywhere near that. This is imperative squirreled into reactive, which is not going to work very well. You don't want to, you're still thinking imperatively. You're still thinking step by step by step. But what you want to think is, I have a dependency. The dependency is not done yet either. Fix it first, then come back and tell me about that. That's the kind of design you want to be thinking, is you're thinking provider and how, or in Riverpod, and how that interacts with your consumer widgets as well, because it's all about this dependency chain that ripples downward to figure out what the pieces are, then coalesces them up to create a result document that you then observe and use in your views. So yeah, this is still got a ways to go.
It's just I don't know, like old state plus new state, like this all feels a bit.
It feels imperative. Yeah, it's a common problem working.
I'm also
with anything that's
really confused,
like this.
really confused about this because this is broken code, because you've got an extra bracket here. I mean, you're creating a list and making another list from that list.
Yeah,
and I'm assuming it was passed to a function that you removed from here. I don't know. Anyway, look, we're not here to like just dish code. All code like this has problems. We write code like this that has problems. So just to be clear, like this is not like, but yeah, no, there's definitely some things to be improved, and it's just hard to, like, without something that you can run as a full theme, it's hard to kind of really talk more about it than abstractly. So
yeah.
My hour's up, so I'm gonna have to run.
Thanks, Danielle.
So
thanks, Danielle, for coming.
See you all next week.
See you then.
It was good seeing you again. It's been a while.
Welcome back, Scotty.
Thank you.
Yes. You got him to growl. He got him to growl like his dogs.
Well, when he was taking me from place to place, that would have been the perfect time for me to like say something like, "Beat me up, Scotty."
Yeah.
See
I've so many things I could do now. This.
See if I help you out the next time you want to go on a photography tour.
Thank you again, by the way, for that, Scott.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Just a little clarification. Danielle happened to come to town, so we went running around doing some photography while she was here. She's got one of those like ridiculously expensive cameras, SLR.
DSLR, right?
Actually mirrorless, but yeah. So it's
actually what?
It's mirrorless, so it's actually after the DSLR.
Aha.
So yeah, it's like the Dart of cameras versus like C++. No, Dart.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
Maybe see you next week. Yes.
Mirrorless. Does that mean? Let's just think about this. Does that mean it's like the original cameras, which would just have light coming straight into it instead of passing through a prism, like?
Mirrorless
video player that loads video and audio separately to enable background playing. Everything works, but on a really slow internet, you can't get the audio and video to sync.
Congratulations, you're learning all the problems you get with AV.
Yes. I saw somebody actually solve this problem by starting and stopping immediately, like after like a 1/10 of a second, both the audio and the video separately, so that it warmed everything up just right. Then he said start on both of them, and it worked.
That's why all the VAV stuff has a thing called prepare.
Yeah.
You know what
But he
prepare
found
does?
that
It prepares it for playback, so you
Yeah,
don't have to do that.
yeah.
All
Anyway.
right. The what you so I'll bring up the gist because I take a look at it. But to be honest, don't play them separately. So syncing, so the AV will drift all the time, right? If a frame is skipped, it has to be resynchronized, right?
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, don't send them separately. If you send them separately, you really need to write an entire video player subsystem. You can't just use the video player package, right? I mean, you're going to have to, yeah, just in this situation, I would probably go so as far as to say just make your own plugin that does exactly what you want it to do. Sorry, go on.
There we go.
So
both
this
driving.
is the code. So video, yeah. So it's using the video player package and just audio. Yeah. See, this is the problem, right? Like you're trying to use Dart code to bring these two things together, which are playing independently from the native system. The whole idea of the native playback system is that it actually synchronizes for you, right? You need to let the native player synchronize for you. So you're trying to do this in Dart code. That's the wrong way of doing it, right? It's just that simple. Yeah. Seek. You're trying to seek two streams. Why? Sorry, in your question, you said to enable background playing, you're playing them separately. You can do background playback without what? I don't quite get that. So you're saying that with just the video player package, you can't do background playback. I'm going to suggest that you need to look at how you're actually doing your background play in general. So there's Flutter background service package. Flutter background service. There's also there is actually audio playback in the background as well. There's that, but yeah, I mean, what you're doing, I'll be honest with you, I would not be using. I don't know what you're. Can you speak about what your application is actually doing? Okay, video player is not your process has been shut down. That's it. Like it's not necessarily your video player that's been shut. The video player won't stop unless it's been told to stop. And it's been told to stop because, i.e., you're disposing of the controller in the front end because probably the app is being wound up. You need to continue to run an app, to run something in the background. You have to run a service, and that service, and let's say for this is talking about Android, that service in Android has to be marked as for video and audio playback, and then it'll keep the operating system knows it'll keep your stuff running. So go look at. I'll post the link in the chat here. Flutter background service. It's kind of an interesting. It's called, by the way, it's called a foreground service. It's a background service that shows a notification to the user, making it a foreground service. And the idea being that the user now knows that here's what's happening in the background. This thing is playing audio, and here's a button where I can stop it. And that's what's critical, because there's too many. You would not want it. Let's say you had stuff playing in the background. They left your app. They shut your app down, but it's still playing. They're like, where do I switch this thing off? That literally has to happen on Android and iOS as well, where like things just continue running, right? Where and you had no control. So they impose these restrictions now where you have to say it's a foreground service and what you're playing it for. And also the idea is to stop apps from just like consuming people's battery by doing everything in the background always. Right.
Well, another thing too is this is what YouTube calls a paid service. Being able to play in the background.
Which is really annoying. Anyway, so you can run video and you can play it in the background. The video playback, just to be clear, I'm going to say this. I have not tried it with it. Maybe the video player package has something in it that does something special. I'm not going to lie. Like I haven't tried that recently, but in general, the way it works is it decodes the video and outputs it to a surface. If that surface doesn't exist, it still decodes the video. It still gets to that point. It just doesn't output it to anything on the screen because there's nothing on the screen to output to. So unless there's some specific behavior that is in the video player package to do this. I'm going to say it doesn't do it by default. So, yeah, I can imagine that. Just constantly, just non-stop. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
So the
shut down
phone
the.
never stopped vibrating. There are
Do you
some
know,
people who would consider this a feature and not a bug.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just imagine you also had the script set for startup. So, like,
Yeah.
know.
Anyway, we're
Okay,
spiraling
I can't believe I said that. Let's go.
We've only got like we're an hour and 15 minutes into the show. We still have 9 questions. Let's take questions probably for another like 10 minutes and then stop.
I don't
Or
even know
two.
about that long.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes in. 5 minutes. We'll cut off.
Get your questions in now.
So type
Yes.
quickly.
2 minutes. Type fast.
Strong typing, everyone.
Okay. Let's not get too deep in a rabbit hole on this one.
Come on.
Okay. Why is Flutter community moving to Blue Sky? What is it about? In long and short version, we really do have certain standards in the Flutter community, and I think everyone's really sick of X.
I think there's also a side of,
trash.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't seem to see all this trash that everyone seems to be seeing, but I said this before to someone, like, Blue Sky would become the same way if people. It's like this: if you start liking posts about let's say elections, various different things inside elections, you may believe with those things, but still, it's then going to start recommending you things about elections because you liked it, or you watched the entire video around it, so it's going to recommend that to you. But if you're just using it for Flutter, well, it's just going to know you want Flutter stuff and recommend Flutter stuff, right? Hang on. So this is where I think the difference is, that I've seen people like start up a fresh profile and it doesn't give you that crap, right? Because it's learning fresh, right? So that's one thing to say. The other side of this is most of the Flutter community, when Blue Sky first came out and it was in beta, like private, like profiles, like invite only, most people got them. And that was when the first exodus from X, when Twitter came, when it was brought up by Elon, right? So I think it's just natural for people want to be on all these platforms and to be where the other people are. They're interested in the same thing. If there's lots of Flutter
thing
community,
too is there are people like me who are just so sick of Elon that, viewing X gives him revenue on impressions. And it hits a point where you're like, I just don't want to give this stupid idiot a penny, so I'm going all the way to Blue Sky, saying the heck with it.
I'll be honest with you, I really do like the Blue Sky interface and a bunch of other things. Like it feels like it's got all the light. What's the word? It feels lightweight. Like it's gone back to its roots. Like it's what Twitter used to be, right? Many moons ago. It's like lightweight. It's fast. It's to the point. So rather than it being like clunky.
Okay. Rabbit hole done.
Oh yeah, there you go. Next.
What is the best way of testing a Flutter app when it has very bad internet connection rather than no connection?
So Android specifically actually comes with an emulator, and on the emulator you can select bad internet condition and you can test your app. There you go. Wow. And you can actually do that on the command line. So you can actually start up an AVD, right? Android. No, not AVD. What am I talking about?
Android virtual device.
Android, yeah, AVD, yeah, Android virtual device. And you can start the Android virtual device from the command line, run your test, and then shut it down. And you can run your test. If you run the Flutter test with the -d flag for the device, you can give it the device ID for the emulator. And now you can test your app on bad conditions.
And as you could see a moment ago, like any piece of high-tech technology, Simon gets stuck every once in a while.
Skip to track on the record.
Okay, we're missing something here. Come on, Okay, it's a two-parter.
Well,
there's a gist. And it goes with, is it possible to transform along the Z-axis in the Canvas API for camera projection in 3D? Cannot find anything like a Matrix 4.
Matrix 4 is there.
What? Right. Okay. So first of all, literally one of the very first what was it? One Lima, the one of the very first Dart not developer advocates, what are they called? Yeah. developer relations team. Yeah, one of the Dart developer team members did a great example of this, of being able to do this. And it's what I do with all the 3D stuff. You can transform around it. So let me bring up the code. So is it possible to transform on the Z-axis in the Canvas API for camera projection in 3D? I cannot find anything like Matrix 4. You can just use Matrix 4. So let me be clear. I think to be clear, you have 3 dimensions. So the Canvas API is 2-dimensional. It's Cartesian coordinate plane. That's it. You have 2 dimensions. You cannot do 3 dimensions. This is why there's no transform along the Z-axis. However, what you can do is project your 3D coordinates to 2D space and then render them in 2D space. So I think maybe you need to explain a bit more about what you're doing here, but we can certainly bring up your little example and see what's going on. Containers, gesture detector. I mean, so you can use Matrix 4 with, so the problem here is there's a magic set value that you're missing to do the rotation in the Z-axis. Give me 1 second. It's about setting the projection on it. Let me see if I can find it. Hey, look. Oh, my God. I don't believe I just Googled that and it came up immediately. Perspective on Flutter. Whelm Lima. There he is. This is it from how long ago? 2018. 2018.
Whelm Lima. That was ages ago.
And wait for it. Look. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. See? Wim is the reason I'm involved with Flutter, believe it or not.
Yeah, same here. So there you go. So yes, you can. And the magical bit of code that you're missing in your example is, there you go. There you go. See that? See your X and Y rotate? That's the one line that you're missing. That adds the perspective. That basically sets the perspective value on the matrix. These are actually backwards. It's actually 2, 3, but in the set entry takes YX. Just to be clear, that is correct. It's a known feature.
Just to make it fuzzy.
yeah, just to keep you on your feet. You know. So yeah,
I'm a little confused here.
2 different questions.
Yeah.
What do you mean 2 different questions?
Any code is on camera projection.
Well, I just put that in the chat, so you've got that. Hover issue? Is this hover issue? Is it a different one? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, I see. So that's a hover issue. The hover issue I'm trying to fix, the initial thought was something that you scrolled away from.
Oh wow. So yeah. So you're trying to, so there's 2 things here, right? One is, here's the Z problem. First of all, this is orthogonal view, not perspective, right? So that's why it looks a bit weird. And if you want this one but to be in front of this one, so the green box is behind that, you'd see the yellow here, right? Like the top thing. That's just the drawing order. That's the order in which you put the widgets in here. That's what you need to change, right? So each widget, because you're rotating each widget to make like a face of the rectangle, they're drawn in this order. So if you want this one to be before the other one, that is your Z-axis. The Z index is the order of the widgets. And it's called Painter's algorithm. Is it Painter? No.
Painting order?
No, there's a name for it. Hang on. Painter's algorithm. Yeah. So let me just bring this up. It is Painter's algorithm. It's been a while. So it's this kind of thing. So you paint back to front, right? So the things in front are painted on top of the things behind, giving you everything. This is like how software works, essentially, right? So you want to paint what's behind before you want to paint what's in front, right? So you get this happen, right? And this way, these trees are drawn transparently on top of this background, and this background is drawn on top of this to obscure the bottom of like the hills or whatever, right? So anyway, that's your Z order or Z index of your widgets, and they're drawn in that. So maybe I can run the just later. Let's see, but we'll let's get to where we're going first. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave that one in our queue here so we can get back to it if needed. All right. Two-parter here. Q1, or maybe two questions. Nope. Riverpod author, which is Remy, suggested moving from state notifier to notifier or async notifier.
Correct.
Okay. It's kind of like moving to straight provider.
No.
I have a
Oh, yes.
Mox or Max?
Mix, probably. Mix of sync and async
I have a
elements.
mix of sync and async elements, and that putting them all in one notifier would mix things.
Correct. Yeah, don't do that. Put a
Is
async.
the only solution
Yes.
to
They
set
don't
two
cost
separate
anything. It's not like you're paying $1 for a notifier. Just make them. it's not like you're paying out of your pocket for each one of these notifiers. You know, put your static data, put your synchronous data in one notifier, put your async data in another notifier. And the advantage of an async notifier is that you then get your 3 states. You get your loading data and error states, where you don't really need that with the synchronous data because you either have it or things blew up and you handle it somewhere else. So yeah, I don't see the question here. Well, I see the question, but it's like, yeah, use a separate notifier.
Just use a separate one. Flutter Dev, I'm looking at this and I'm context, please. How can I achieve an accurate speed like 90% accuracy? Are there any paid services available? 90% accuracy of what?
Location.
Prediction
I use geolocator.
Right.
He wants so speed accuracy you cannot get from GPS.
Right.
So the faster you go, the more accurate it becomes. This is how this is because GPS works on positions. It doesn't work on relative points. So don't use that to calculate your speed. You want to use the gyroscope on the device to calculate your speed.
You mean accelerometer?
Accelerometer, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The what do you call it? Accelerometer, gyroscope, and the other one, whatever, magnometer, whatever it's called, magnometer.
There's tilt, and there's magnometer. There's 4.
Yeah. It's like there's like a bunch of this. Anyway, you want to use the sensors on the device to work out your Well, it's not. You can't just use accelerometer on its own.
No, I'm just saying that's one of the ones.
But yeah,
there are 4.
Alrighty.
Wherever the 4 are.
Okay. We're going back here. This is a quick follow-up, but we've already looked at it.
I think that was
yeah, I was part of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let me finish. I think it's part of the previous question. I'm just putting it up here, Swindler. If that's not part of the previous question, let us know.
Yeah.
This was okay.
All right. What are the best resources for learning Flutter as a beginner or advancing skills? This one is for all of you who keep asking this question over and over and over and getting bumped and bumped and bumped. So, best resources. There are actually a lot of them.
Yes.
What is that? The newer one?
Roadmap.sh/Flutter.
You go ahead and put that one in, and I'm going to go find Alexi's.
Also, if you go to the Discord and you type !begin, you'll get all of our recommended beginner resources, including a link back to this channel, this YouTube channel. So you would have found out about this channel from looking at that resource. So go to the Flutter community Discord and join up and type _begin, and you'll get everything you need to know.
Yep.
I have it on a
There's another
hotkey.
great one.
I have it on a hotkey, but it won't fit into the chat here. So I would otherwise I would paste it here too. It's quite long, sadly. But no, yeah, we have a bunch of beginner resources, definitely. And the key element without the TLDR version of this is Flutter.dev and Dart.dev have a huge number of code labs and tutorials and cookbooks and things like that. Look there first. And
I got a problem with that, because people who don't know what they're looking at don't know which order to take things in, and it becomes information overload very quickly.
That's why you need this list that I can't paste in, right? A little bit longer. But that's really, that should be your primary sources, not 3-year-old YouTube videos. Do not look at anything on YouTube that's older than 6 months without expert guidance. I mean, without having somebody around where you say, hey, is this video out of date or not? Unless you have that kind of relationship with people on the Flutter Discord or the Slack channels, don't just watch a random video. It's probably out of date. That's just how fast the Flutter and Dart language.
The exceptions that I would say on that, the main exception is widget of the week.
Yeah,
that one's always good. Package of the week is usually pretty good too.
Yeah. I mean, I know a particular widget of the week that they had to redo twice because they got the first one wrong. But that's another story.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, we talk about that all the time. I'm proud of that change that I helped make. Yes. Anyway.
So what you're saying is your fault that
I remember a scrambling Craig.
I was going to say what you're saying, Randall, is it's your fault that it's wrong.
It's not my fault. My fault
to get out
was wrong. Yeah, I was. Yes, you're right. It wasn't observed as wrong until Randall observed it wrong. Then, if the observation makes reality,
I
then
was going to say, isn't that quantum stuff? Like,
I know. I'm an agent of quanta.
No, that's an airline. You can't be an agent of an airline. No.
Quanta man. No, that's Quantus. That's when we're in plural. Right. Okay, now we're spiraling. We got a couple more questions, and then we're gonna do some live coding, I guess, right?
Yeah, actually, we've got one more, and then something in the chat I wanted to address.
Sure.
And this one, I'm not familiar with what post you're talking about. Does anybody know what post is being referred to here?
Yes. We spoke about this last week, didn't we?
Oh.
The cache widget post on Twitter.
Oh yeah, the not so good thing to do, right?
Didn't we, Ray? Weren't you here last week? When you were the person who spoke about it. I mean, I don't know what we need to speak more about it. The point we're trying to make is like if you shouldn't be making all your build. Like if you're doing one build and it's rebuilding something that much, and it's that expensive to rebuild, then you're probably doing something wrong, right? Like you've got a lot of side effects. You're doing a lot of processing around your build. Like it should be, I'm constructing these widget configs based on my app state. There's a one-to-one relationship there. It goes through and goes, oh, I should loop around this many times and build this many widgets, right? Then once you have those widgets, it gets passed to the platform. The platform goes, oh, this is different from the ones I had. I'm going to rebuild my elements and my render objects. And it's done. It's really efficient. The point is, we always try and reduce the amount of widgets you're trying to build because that's something you can control, right? Like the rest of it's automatic, right? If you rebuild less widgets, there's less chance it's going to have to rebuild elements and render objects, right? So the point here is if you can avoid rebuilding widgets, then that's less code that you have to run per frame. Since you want to run at basically about 8 milliseconds per frame, if you want to get like 60 FPS, 8 milliseconds, 16 for 30, I think. I can't remember. But anyway, the point here is that's the time in that amount of time, you have to your app has to build the widget tree, do all the diffing, build the render objects, then it has to pass the lay out all the widgets, then it has to render those widgets into drawing commands. Those drawing commands get sent to the GPU, then the GPU has to render on the screen. All of that has to happen within 16 milliseconds. The bit you control at the very beginning is the most important part of that, because the rest, becomes stateful. Like, he doesn't repaint things it doesn't need to repaint. It doesn't rebuild things it doesn't need to rebuild.
And another thing too is what's one of them that Simon skipped is the element tree, checking to see if things need to be marked dirty and rebuilt.
Right.
The more you can reduce that, the better off you're going to be. And I don't care what people on Twitter say about const. Use it.
I just pasted two great URLs for the two talks Craig's given on life cycle of a widget and life cycle of a render object. And these are amazing. Craig did an amazing job with these, and I learned so much about the backend framework that lets me understand how optimized everything is behind the scenes. And if you're trying to do your own caching, your own optimization, you're fighting that system typically and actually throwing it off base. So let this framework do what it needs to do. But watching those two videos will help you understand maybe a few things you can do to kind of hint at the system a bit to do even better. But yeah, those are great videos. Absolutely great videos. I just rewatched both of them a couple days ago just to remind myself of some of the amazing stuff that's being said in there. Yeah.
No, but banned from my vocabulary.
Yes.
One other. Oh, okay. So you've already talked about Flock. There was an interesting point brought up about Flock recently that anything like that really does something really good, which I imagine at some point this will, tends to find its way back into the original. So being a fork, who knows? There could be a lot of good there that comes back into the Flutter SDK.
Yeah.
The people behind it are really good. They know what they're doing. They've got a particular goal that they're trying to reach, things that they're trying to do. And yeah, I mean, that's the main theory that I've heard is that as long as it's treated decently and people don't end up getting, I don't know, adversarial, that this can really be a good thing.
I'm going to repeat two things I said last week just to bring this forward. And one is that there are changes happening internally because of the flock, uprising. So that is a good thing. That's a very good thing. The downside is that the manner and method in which Flock was announced fed fuel into the fire about Flutter is dead. And so many of the blog posts I saw related to that rather than this being a good thing for the community if it makes submissions a bit easier and get more timely and things like that. But there's I was fighting. I think I must have seen maybe 50, 60 blog posts because I have scanners that are looking all over the place for Flutter information. I must have seen like 50 or 60, and I commented on every one of them that I could to say, wait, no, this is, first off, you're wrong about the Flutter team being disbanded. I know that
my God,
brought up over.
Are you serious?
Yes. Oh, it's still being brought up. Yes.
Oh yeah.
The Flutter team hasn't lost a single person. They didn't even lose. That not a single person on the Flutter team got laid off during the layoffs. Right. They lost one person due to an internal transfer.
Yeah, and so I try to tell people all this stuff, and I have it on a hotkey now. I've had to type it so many times. I have a hotkey to respond to that, and it's so that's the downside of the way it was rolled out. I think that could have been handled better. But the net effect, I think, is overall is that means that the core Flutter team is probably going to make some accommodations to make sure that we get useful commits into the release. But we're putting 300 commits in a day already. I mean, there's a lot of work for the release managers already to do. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. And before we go digging in the code, I'm going to have to take off.
Thanks, Scott.
But,
Thanks.
It is good here. It is good to be back.
Yes. Welcome back.
I should be back from now on.
You were missed.
So
I might not make it next week, so that'd be great if you were here.
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good.
When do I get a week off?
Ah!
You take weeks off now and then all the time.
I'm joking.
Yes.
Come on. All right.
Sometimes here's what happens when we cancel a show. It's usually because Simon and one of the other two people on screen right now both can't make it,
Yeah.
and we can't really do this on just one of us.
No. This engine doesn't run on one cylinder. Definitely.
Nope. Nope.
Right. Come
And
on.
it's,
Let's do some
and
coding.
we've tried to get Danielle to be that second cylinder and help
Yeah.
run everything, but
And
Danielle, come back.
yeah,
We need you to be the second cylinder.
she will. That's such a strange invitation now, taken out of
Isn't it,
context.
though?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Anyway,
All right.
Scott,
I'm going to run away.
all right.
You all have a good one. Enjoy the
See you.
code, and I will see you next week.
That's right. So let me close that off too, because we're done with that. So no more general questions. Questions only about our live coding that Simon's about to begin, which I don't know if he's identified what he's coding
please
yet.
also, if you have any requests or questions, like anything around live coding, please pump into the chat. Like we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, we're just going to get on with what we've been sent, which is.
Did think there was one in there that had live coding, but I don't remember where it is now.
Well, reposted that person. You have my blessing.
Yeah, if they're
Right.
still here, because
So this is the code example that was posted earlier.
Mhm.
And yeah, so what we're seeing here, for those that don't understand this, so we've got a what we actually got here. We've got a container with a cube container. I mean, you really didn't need to do that. You weren't really gaining anything by using the same widget for both. By doing this, by the way, just to let you know, by putting this in a widget and putting this in a variable, moving it down and moving it up, even if you're doing this 100 times, you're only gaining not calling these constructors, right? Like it's not actually getting like anything substantial. You're still creating the underlying elements and render objects for those things, right? So you're better off just putting that in the layout and having it more legible than not, right? For a start, that's what I'd say. Have I got too many brackets now somewhere? Probably. No, I'm missing a bracket.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you struggle with brackets. You never struggle with brackets. I don't know how you cut and paste entire swaths of stuff and just drop it else, and magically the brackets all work for you. That's
So
never
yeah.
Lots of practice, huh?
Anyway, so what do we have here? So we have an offset. So I think the idea was that I could touch somewhere and it would move the screen because you got on pan update. Doing two fingers in there. I don't know. It's not working. Figure that one out in a minute. Probably because the gestures in here are taking more. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Right. So the first thing was the hover, right? So you got a cube, you've got a transform, which you update when you tap on it. On hover, well, this is not on desktop, so that's shit. Well, I think I can tell you what it doesn't work because it's actually the same as your on tap. Okay. So if you look here, I'm tapping here, and that's not the widget that's been highlighted. And I tap up here, and it's not the widget that's been highlighted, right? So I tap and hold down. I need to change the splash thing. What's it? Highlight color? I forget. Highlight color and splash color, I think. Amber. Let's go with amber. Color. What's it? Splash color. This is going to look awful, but it's just to highlight the values on the screen. There you go. Right? So there is paint underneath that one, but it's still not the right shape, is it? Right? And this is because the shape that you're putting here is a transparent material. Why have we got a transparent material here? Because it's sitting on top of these widgets, and that's only being transformed by this top one. So you're basically making a piece of material that's the same size as the stack, and then moving it around, right? Like this isn't actually doing what you're trying to do with the rest of this. Like you got, I mean, the way you're doing this is just I mean, you can do whatever you want. I don't know. This is just like having a little bit of fun, but yeah, this is not the way to do this really. So transform will transform the touch coordinates as well. Yeah, I mean the problem you've got nothing inside. If we wrap, let's just have a look at this, right? If we wrap, so this is color red. So we've got green, yellow, and purple, and I'm assuming our red is on the back side, right? So let's pretend this one doesn't exist for a minute. Make our lives easier, right? You're trying to put this on top, and of course, this is just going to cover up everything. This includes the hover. The hover is going to be the same as this touch area. It's not going to be the full area of the object, right? So what you actually need to do is wrap each of your transformed widgets. Now, we'll just do this generally just for a second, just to kind of like highlight this. And then we can look at maybe a better way of approaching it. Let me see what colors dot. Let's just use the same color, right? Deep purple. That's a bad idea, but we'll find out. So here, if I tap on the front, it says if I can get to the front, well, because this is in front of it. Let's get rid of that temporarily. Right. So, and then I need, what do I need? Flutter logo. Why I know work. Am I using the wrong color? Probably. Oh, that's not what I expected. The transform should transform the. Hang a minute, is this rotated? It's rotated, yeah. Rotate X and Y, and you got. Well, that's interesting. Dun dun dun. I wonder if this is just more about hit. Do we have like a hit behavior? No. I mean, is it possible that we've got a. Let's do one widget here. Let's just see if we got which on top of the other. Just for a second. 12. We want 12. Okay, there's the one widget. And let's see what. Oh, I know why it's not working. I'm an idiot. That's why it's not working. Inkwell needs to be on top of a material, and that material needs a color because the taps were happening. What's happening behind? So that should fix. That should fix it.
Material widget, because I'm a material widget. Material widget.
That did not fix it.
Oh no!
Oh wait! I'm seeing touch effect.
It looks so obvious.
I'm seeing touch effects, but it's because they're being drawn on the background, which is correct. So this is actually it's because I'm chosen the same color. I knew that was going to come bite me. Right, let's try this now. There we go.
Yes. Okay. Now your box walls light up.
Okay, cool. So then wrap this with a material. Let's move our color up and. Oops. Just get rid of container. Stop using container. All right. I have it out for container, as everyone knows. Right. Let's just highlight color. Let's just try highlight color. Yeah. Oh, so that's interesting. See that? I'm still getting the amber. Oh, but your center align. Is this because it's centered? That's interesting, isn't it? It thinks that these touch coordinates on the side are part of the, because I don't think the perspective. So I think what's happening here is the XY coordinates. They're being transformed, but I don't think they're being. No, they should be going transform hit test. Well, let's go take a look. So when set to true, hit tests are performed based on the position of the child as it is painted. When set to false, hit tests are performed ignoring the transformation. Apply paint transform, and therefore local state and global state are always honor the transformation regardless of this value of this regardless of the value of this property.
Yeah.
So it's just hit test that transform. So this is when you're looking up via layout, and then this is your paint, which is the whole point. But where's the hit? So effective transform.
A lot of math here.
Yeah, this is just to add the extra translation required to resolve for the alignment. Yeah. So this basically works out what it needs to be translated to. Hit test children, apply with paint transform, hit test children. So this is just taking the hit test box and applying the transform to it. And then the position that you're going to get here is the transformed position. So then when the hit test children takes place, it's taking place in the appropriate place. It's interesting because by default, it looks to see if that point is within the bounds of the child. And I wonder if now they've been transformed, they're not considered they're not considered in bounds. I think that's what's actually happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So the original point after it's been transformed would it be out of bounds of the child widget, so it can't detect it. Feels right, but then it also feels wrong. Let's go back. That's enough hunting. Yeah, I'm not. It's kind of interesting, right? So if I get rid of this on tap, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, let's get rid of the inkwell. I think the problem here, actually, now I'm saying that, I think I know what the problem is. Yeah, I know what the problem is. This, you got stack fill expand. What does that do? Come on. That means every one of these widgets is stacked on top of each other.
Oh.
So they're all going to be taking the I appreciate what you're doing here, but yeah, no, that's the not the way to do it.
I appreciate they're doing it in a way that won't work.
Oh, that's better. Right. And the question here is line top left, widget height. Width is the same as height, is it? Is that what you're trying to get here? Let me just see what we got here. Cube, width and height. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just. I mean, what you're trying to achieve with this, there might be a better way of achieving what you're trying to do. I mean, the way you do this normally within 3D space, you just do a what's it called? Array projection. which is something that the widget. I mean, this is all stuff you're trying to do stuff that the widget system is not meant for. I was actually thinking about this. So we were talking about this last week about doing a new render style. So rather than having just like slivers or box model, in this case, you could have 3D box model, right? And if you did something like that, then you could then actually do all this, and then your touches would be about projecting array into the 3D space and actually getting the right collision detection that you're looking for to detect hit testing, right? I feel like you're probably going down the wrong road here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the problem with this, what we can solve is if at the moment, if I wrap these in let's wrap this one in a placeholder. Well, that's not going to work.
Oh,
the problem here is like if I make this red, right? It's been behind it. Let's.
He says added on last comment on just the thing I'm trying to do.
All right. Well, I'll take a look in a second. Let's just make some more colors up here for a second. So if I get, I don't know, think of a color that we haven't used. Yeah, pink. So here's a good example of this. It's not red, but something else. Blue, indigo. Right. So you should see there's a slight indigo line. Well, it's been covered up by the pink one, but anyway. So what's happening here is that this rotation that we're applying. So if I get rid of these two parameters, and we run this, it should be square. There you go. Right, we head on.
Yeah, square.
And then if we rotate around the X and Y axis, 15 and 13 degrees respectively, we're going to move it around this axis, right? And if we looked at Wilm Lehman's article, which, do I still have it up? I do. And we add perspective in here. Yeah, now we have a perspective matrix. We're much better. Look at that. It looks like a real cube.
Oh.
But anyway, even if we don't have that, this is all orthogonal view. But the problem here is that we're now making a stack of widgets, and each one of these is essentially covering each other. So you're not going to get touches happening appropriately. And I think that's where the problem here. So you can see here what I've got as the pink X is what's wrapping the orange panel. And you can see it's not transformed appropriately, right? So this is going to be getting, this transform is just going to be getting the touch inputs for where the green area is. And since the green is painted behind, then it's not going to get them. So do it like that. And now the green one's going to get the touch coordinates as well as the orange ones, right? So if I go up and let's put an inkwell on this one. Surely this should be width and height. Am I part of this? Anyway, and what color should we make? Pink. Right. So now if I tap, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Right.
What's that doing over there?
So now if I tap here, yeah, I'm not getting anything. What happened?
Oh, man.
Is that that wasn't what I was expecting, but mind you, but
Not hiring enough union guys. That's it. The union laborers aren't in there.
yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Can I? Oh, you know why? Left child a green. Is that green coming from that? Hang on, let's have a look. Yes. Let me just check something before I. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel very confused right now. I would expect it to come out on top.
I don't know. Maybe you can rotate it to the top.
Well, it might. I think honestly, it might just be that the coordinates are outside the parent. That's just how the relationship goes, right? As you go down the widget tree. If this inkwell was above the transform, then you're going to be getting it in the original coordinates here, the indigo coordinates. This is where the so it'd be on the yellow section, right? The green section is where you want it, and the coordinates are being transformed, but they're probably being transformed, and then the child is not actually seeing those coordinates in its local space. I'm going to assume. I don't know. I'm not overly convinced, but equally, you're not doing something that you're not really expected to work inside of Flutter. I mean, the thing is, you can still do this, right? It's just you're not going to be doing it with widgets, right? The widget hierarchy is not designed for this. It's really about yeah, the hit testing is it's all 2D space, right? You're trying to treat it as 3D space.
Should try building this in Flame or something then. No, Flame's still 2D.
Flame has its 3D stuff now. You can still, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can use Flame would probably be a better option. Yeah, Impeller isn't ready for Windows. It's not Impeller that's the problem. Oh yeah, if you're trying to do the 3D, you mean like GPU 3D stuff. Yeah, but you don't need to do that. Well, it's not what you're doing here, right? So what you're trying to do is, you can see, I've been doing all this perfectly fine in Flutter, but I'm just rendering it myself, right? You're using the render objects, which are designed around render boxes, which are designed around Cartesian coordinates, 2D coordinate system.
Where does DevTools?
The fact that you can put a matrix on there and essentially adding, what you're doing is you're adding a stretch and a skew factor.
Where does DevTools line up on the edges of the widgets when you have transformed widgets like that? Does it do anything sensible?
I don't think it does, but we can have a look for sure.
Yeah, I'd be curious because I always tell people use DevTools to do layout issues.
It's massive.
What's going on there?
Yeah, look, it does. Yeah.
Oh, it actually translates it. Wow.
Wait,
what's that one going way out to the right then? What's the one going up to the right? That's weird.
What, this one over here?
Yeah, that straight line up over there to the right, up and right.
That'd be one of these that isn't. I mean, essentially this one here probably. I mean that should be. It's probably
this might be informative then to actually tell you where it's trying to lay each widget out.
Maybe.
I
Not convinced.
think you're tired of this problem and you just want to move on. I don't blame you. There's a lot of math in that. Yeah, because I don't know why that one little trace line's going up and to the right over there. It's kind of weird. Can you click on the screen?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to work out a nice way of like bringing this in because they've got cube size 450 by 200, and that's not cube size, right? The cube size is 200 by 200. This is this is that the panel is 400. The only reason the panel is 400 is because, and that's really where the problem comes in. Like it should be 200 by 200.
Okay.
That's better.
Ooh.
And then,
Now you got this. It's a big panel in the back now.
well, that's why just hang on. Deep purple, opacity 0.1. That's because that's been the height that is set. Like this, you don't use widths and heights anywhere. I don't know why any of this is in here. Like this is. Ugh. That's much better. Right. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Fewer stray lines. That's good. Now we're painting where we think we're painting more.
Yeah. Well, somewhat. This again is still
somewhat,
not.
Yeah.
Right. So, God damn, this is horrible. We've got like 4 centers here, like 4 ways of centering.
If only there was just one standard. We should make a standard of all of this. And then we'll have
That's
5
better.
standards.
Look at that. Look, without all that junk, it's actually positioned right. So this is this outside square here. In fact, let's make this louder. Let's make it pink accent at 50%, just so we can see it. There you go. So that pink box is actually where the widget actually started, right?
Okay.
So, and if we have, say, 2 of these, there you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this has been designed. If we do bottom, and we can stack from the bottom, and then hang on. Let's do half the height as well. It's because they're rotated around. There you go. So we can do 3, right? Cool. Sorry, it's off the bottom of the screen. There you go. So this is 3 squares. Now the question is, yeah, let's make it back to 1 just for a second. Yeah, put the stack from the bottom. Let's carry on here. Width and height. It's always width and height, never height and width. Come on, X, Y, X, Y. Left child, sure.
Height and width are in alphabetical order, though.
I know, but
X and Y are in alphabetical order too. Right. Should be X before Y. Not our fault the words for height and width are in reverse order of X and Y.
Yeah, so I kind of would like, the only reason is, let's just comment these out for a second. So we should just have the orange there now. Sorry, yeah, the orange, yeah. And does this tap?
Well, doesn't tap.
It does not.
That's so sad.
Is it just not displaying?
Does DevTools not show tap targets? I thought they did.
No, it has got a thing around it. It is doing it. It's just like,
it's not splashing.
Is it actually triggering?
Doesn't it have to have a material 1 more layer down so it can splash and spread?
Yeah, it's here. No, it'll splash onto the parent one, which is translated. It's not picking up the. It's interesting. It's not picking up the tap. And I think it might be because.
Are you behind something?
Let me get rid of this placeholder for a second. I think this is just about where the bounds are.
Still not
See, I
working.
still think here would be anywhere here should, because it's in within the bounds of the pink,
Yep.
and then transformed in the 2 axes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, which is rather confusing. Let's see what happens.
Well, folks, I knew there'd
Yeah,
be the,
okay. I think I see what's going on there.
we finally stumped
90 degrees off
maybe
axis.
not.
Hang
Maybe
on.
not. Maybe not. So it might be pulling out of the.
Yeah. Okay. So what's happening here? Let me explain what's
Yeah.
happening.
Oh,
Look.
cool.
So when you're rotated 90 degrees, you're now going head on to the edge when you're doing a tap target, right? Because you're not tapping down on the top of the thing, right?
Oh no. Yeah.
So there's no tap target there. The same goes for the left edge, because you're rotating 90 degrees to the left edge, you're tapping edge on, right? What you're trying to do is not really like, this is correct behavior, but because you're
Right.
rotating outside of the you basically you can see here, look, it's working, and if it's rotated 90 degrees, of course it's not going to be there, right? It's the thin edge across the top of the widget now.
Oh, right. Yeah. Can't
right?
tap that.
Right. So
Can't
exactly,
guess
it's too small. It's too small to tap, right? If I make it maybe 80, do we get? There you go. Look, right.
Oh, it works.
Right now, if I even if I put back on this rotation, hang on. I should be one of these areas. There you go. See it's not working down here, but it's working at the top edge.
Wow.
Because because what's happening right now is the coordinates, the tap coordinates, are not being transformed into coming in from the angle with the inverse angle where the camera's pointing from.
Ah, yeah. It's got to do the math, the inverse.
So you
math.
could do that. We could make a little. I guess we could do a little widget that takes a transformation matrix, applies the inverse transform to coordinates, and hands them down. But the problem here is the stack would then receive them and go, "These coordinates are not within my bounds. I should ignore them."
Right.
Right.
Wow.
I think you're better off actually, like literally, you could do this still with widgets, but you just
one
don't need
giant canvas.
I think maybe
positioned on it.
I was talking about doing a talk about this kind of thing, right? Where doing your own render. Maybe this is what we should do. We should do like one with 3D.
Wow.
True widget 3D render objects.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, if you're going to do it, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah. Does that help you understand what the problem is? I think.
If they're still there. Oh, yeah, he's still there. Oh, he said something a few minutes ago. Yeah. Anyway, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Says yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Let's pull this back, because this is a fun little example to have. But
yeah.
Yeah, I would say don't do this.
Yeah,
there are other ways. You can still do it. There are other ways of doing it, but this is definitely not the.
Yeah, the tap event is not. It's not getting translated properly. Apparently, wasn't there that bool that you didn't do anything with because you said it's all doing the right thing by default?
Bear with me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's doing the right thing by default. It's there.
Okay.
I'm just going to clean this up one here. Why did that widget? Oh, because it's left with. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. This is as soon as you're specifying widths and heights, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
you'd want things to expand and size appropriately. In
Yeah,
this case,
yeah.
This
That's
case,
yeah.
oh, no, go on.
The original person said, does the right thing, but not the thing we want. Yep.
Ouch. What did I do? I broke it. I broke something. No, I'll take that. I'm not going to go there right now.
We could do one of those off hours coding sessions about building the 3D canvas.
I really want to do that. Like, I think people find it interesting, and
We could make
informative
it a
about how you
series
do.
too. We could do like a couple hours at a time, moving it forward until it
Yeah.
kind of gets to some place that we could then come back and bring on this show and show what you've done. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be up for that. A little busy this weekend, but otherwise it should be fine.
Yeah, we can work out some time. I think that people would like that. The job that answers to that is, everyone, you should subscribe, and then you get
notified of the odd shows that we also do, the random pop-up shows that sometimes I only have 15 minutes notice for. I gotta crawl out of bed. It's okay. It's all good. But sometimes if you see me bleary-eyed, this is what's gone on. Simon is 8 hours ahead of me, so of course he has different ideas about what daytime is. Speaking of upcoming events, Friday is my birthday. I will be all ones and binary for probably the last time ever. I don't think I'm going to make it to 127. So, 63 on Friday. So I will be celebrating out of the country. Probably the last time I'll get to go out of the country based on, no, I didn't want to bring that up. Sorry. And having a great time. So I'll be thinking of y'all. That also means that next Wednesday, since I'm still on my birthday trip out of the country, I might not be on next Wednesday's show, but I'm kind of reserving that time anyway. There's nothing that's going to, as long as I get decent Wi-Fi bandwidth down there, I'll have all my laptop and camera gear with me. So the camera you bought for me is my portable camera, so I take it with me everywhere. So yeah. So I may be doing that live from down there. Won't be the kitchen set like I used to use because it's a different apartment down there now. So I have no idea what my background's going to look like. But yeah, thanks for the happy birthdays. And I look forward to flying tomorrow. Hopefully the big storm that's coming through the Pacific Northwest will not affect flight schedules too much, because I'll be mostly on the West Coast. Yeah. So anything else I can say here? Been gathering ideas for another video. It's long. My next YouTube video is long past due. I presume I will do it sometime in the next week. I will paste the YouTube channel of my Dart and Flutter things in the chat so you guys can catch that stuff as well. Subscribe, please. Always helps for the numbers. And there will be more content real soon. I know, like, the last thing was like 2 or 3 months ago. It's probably longer than that, actually. I've got time dilation going all the time in my head.
Well, that's
apparently, yeah. What?
I'm just working. I'm trying to think about why there's a little gap in between these.
Padding. You got padding somewhere.
Well,
yeah, the math should put those right next to each other. You're not doing anything with
plus 0.5. I mean, it's just no. I mean, size.height, they're all the same height. I mean, the rotation shouldn't. It's orthogonal protection. It should be fine.
That's the wood that the circular saw took out as you were cutting up the cubes.
Yeah, that's not, I'm not even going to go there right now. That's fine. Anyway, let's
yeah.
Why is the debug? and it won't turn off.
It's giant.
It's trying to hide. Anyway, what I just want to do here quickly, just to see if this. What was this even doing? I was tapping, and then it was. I don't even know what the matrix change was going to be. 100, so it should move up. I think these are also rendered in the reverse order. So hang on, let's just have a look. Tap. Oh, there you go. Boom, boom, boom. Wait, that's interesting, isn't it? I don't know. It's working.
Yeah. Is it picking up the box?
It doesn't work on this. It doesn't work on the right hand side. It only works to the point. It's because these transformation points are around the. But it's cool. Look.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Now you need to make them spin like a dice.
Yes. Actually, one of the things that we could do with the new 3D thing would be make a dice. Maybe make some 3D dice that you can press a button and throws 3D dice on the screen.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be a simple example to do.
And if you could make the dice with the actual divots for the spots, that'd be
all right. Yeah.
The challenge.
just
because dice aren't a cube; they're a cube minus little divots.
Just make this whole game for me. It says.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm joking. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this code, I'm going to fork it and post it, and then that is the usual process. Now we're going to have the updated code, and I'm not going to put any copy thing on it. It's not mine. Yeah, link is in the chat. Anyone wants it, go get the gist there for what we're just playing around with. If you want to have a play around with yourself. I think, did we get any requests in for anything else? I think we're called at the end, right? We're at the mark now.
I deferred a question to next week. It was something about Go Router, and it sounded like it was going to take a half hour. So I said, nope.
How to upload? What was it? Let me just have a quick look here, just briefly.
That was the Go Router from like about 10 minutes.
App goes back to the initial route. That is because you are messing up your state. That is not Go Router. That's just because your widget is being reconstructed and it's rebuilding it probably. So you need to check out the widgets above where your router is probably being rebuilded. Rebuilded? That's not the right word.
Yeah, rebuilded.
Rebuilded. English.
Rebuilt.
Yes.
Rebuilt.
Rebuilded. It's now rebuilded.
Yes. Yeah, that'll work.
I saw a joke the other day about like you drink so much you become drunk, right? Like no other word works that way. Like you can't say I run so much so I became ran.
Well, you think and then you thunk, right? I thunk it. Thought, right? See, there are irregular.
Yeah, I know. It's English, right?
For everything. Irregular past tense is crazy. Future tense is almost as bad.
At least I'm kind of grateful we don't have that like tense and then gender as well, because this is like.
As I'm continuing to learn Spanish because of immediate needs, it's becoming more clear to me that I'm amazed people that say they know 5 or 6 languages. It's like, what? That's just intense, because I tried to learn Spanish and Portuguese at the same time, and that was already a mistake because they're the same except when they're different. And it made it like twice as hard to try to learn both of those at the same time. I have listed Esperanto on my Duolingo just to show that I have one more language. I spent 10 minutes learning Esperanto one day, just enough so I still have the badge on my having started. Anyway, hey,
we're gonna call it there.
Yeah, we'll call it. I will be older but not necessarily wiser next time I see y'all. And I'll be back. Not a problem. Celebrating my all ones birthday. Don't have many more.
Happy 111111111.
Yeah, exactly.
How many ones it is?
Yep.
See you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.